Hello, members of the Nest. Welcome to our very first panel for OwlCrate-A-Con 2023. I'm Tara. I'm a moderator here on the Nest. Sophie is going to be co-hosting with me today. She's part of Team OwlCrate, and we are talking with Cade Roach from Hey Atlas Creative and Chloe Hughes from No One Designs, all about artistry and fantasy. So pull up a chair, relax as we spend the next hour chatting about everything art, from artist collaboration and the future of art in the bookish community. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Cade, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself before we get too into it?
Yeah, sure. I'm a graphic designer. I've been working with OwlCrate for like almost 7 years now, which seems crazy. I had a bookish shop for 5 years of that. I kind of slowly started transitioning out of that because I've been doing some other projects here, but always with OwlCrate for as long as you'll have me.
Amazing. And Chloe, can you tell us a little bit about your work?
Yes. So my name is Chloe, and she, her, because I forgot to put it on. So, yeah. So I've been doing like pin designs for about 3 years now, and then recently bookmarks. I started because I was like, oh, there's so many designs that I want to be pins. I was like, I'm gonna have to just do them myself, and so here we are.
Love it. So just jumping right into everything. Um, how do books as a medium inspire and influence you in your artistic process? Who wants to go first?
For like my work was always inspired by quotes from books. So when I had my bookish shop, there was always words on everything that I did because I was so inspired by quotes. And I tried to pull quotes that weren't as popular, like the ones that you don't see everywhere else. And yeah, I think I'm just like overall an emotional person. So I was really drawn to that. Yeah, so that's honestly, and then like the vibes too, the vibes of the book, but really it was the quotes that pulled me in and made me want to make art out of those.
Amazing.
Yeah, I feel that with quotes as well, especially like unrecognizable ones. So like the person who's read the book was like, "Oh my god, yeah, I love that one," but like no one talks about it. Yeah, I totally get that.
And how would you utilize the inspiration from fandoms to express your ideas?
Oh my gosh.
A big question.
We're coming in hot.
These questions today.
Maybe you can do that one.
Yeah. Inspiration from fandoms. I don't know. I guess like, oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like in the sense that like I'm on Bookstagram, so I'm seeing what everyone else is reading and being pressured to read that at the same time. So like in that sense, like that's how I'm like picking up the fandoms that are currently popular and need to be created for. But I also really loved creating stuff for the underdogs, like the books that folks didn't like talk about as much. And then I found that creating merch for it actually like got folks like excited about those books, which was really cool,
Absolutely. Chloe, do you have a
Yeah, especially about like the underdog thing. I like creating pins of like not well-known books. Like my favorite pin that I've done was for Cemetery Boys because as soon as I read it, I was like, I have to do a pin for this. Like, where are the pins for this? Where is the fan art for this? I need it. And I was like, yes, I gotta do a pin for it. And it did really well, surprisingly. People were saying to me how they picked up the book because of the pin. And I was like, I'm so glad because it was like one of my favorite standalones. And I was like, this is great that my pins can like make people pick up like different books that they probably wouldn't used to reading or something like that. And especially for like new publishers and new authors and stuff like that. So it's great.
I think we can all be very guilty of picking up books after seeing fan art and merch from it. That's definitely
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was wondering, for both of you, as you are both pin designers for OwlCrate and yourselves, but also designing things like Cade with our monthly theme graphics, and Chloe things like Strange the Dreamer and designing book covers. How do you find your process is different between making something smaller and enamel to making something a bit more digital or in real life like the book covers?
With pin designs, it's actually like I could probably slap out a pin design in like 4 hours. Like I know what to do. I've done it a million times before. It's just like an outline and then colors, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And I feel great because I've done it in like 4 hours. I was like, oh, I completed something. But with like a dust jacket, it's a lot, it's like a learning curve because it's like there is like so many elements to it that I didn't have no idea about. It's like when you have to do UV or gold foil and there's different layers. So it's like back and forth with just little tweaks, like, oh, I see like a spelling error, or like there's like one little like black mark in the corner. I was like, how did you see that? So it's like pins is down here, and then doing dust jackets is like up here. It's scary, but it's really fun.
That's funny. I almost feel like it's the opposite for me. Like, well, because I haven't done a book jacket for OwlCrate, but like when I do their theme designs, it's like as I'm designing it, you see everything as it's going to appear on social and in print. Whereas like when you're designing a pin, you have to like really kind of like think backwards, because things don't really appear on the screen as they're going to appear when it's created, especially if you're using like metals and stuff. And you typically are like limited to a certain amount of colors. And so like I feel like creating a pins is, I mean, I love it because it's like almost a little more challenging, and you have to think about your designing process like completely differently than just designing for the screen. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Let's think about the colors a lot more as well, I can imagine, to how they're going to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, with pins, like even though like I'm the opposite, I'm like my brain works in pins, like just the outline, like outlining work. I love it. It's so therapeutic. I'm like, just like give that to me all the time. But like with pins, I'm like, because I'm kind of annoying. I'm like just full detail, and then the manufacturer's like too much detail. It's gonna have to be like 2 inches big, and I'm like, just do it. It's fine. I don't care.
I love how detailed your work is. I love how detailed it is. It's like the first time I saw your stuff, I was like blown away because I had never seen pins before that were that detailed, and it just stands out. It's really awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. I think my manufacturer kind of hates me. They're like, why are you doing simple lines? And I'm like, no, we're keeping them all in. Do all the details.
Plus, it's been a really fun thing about working with the Treasure Tomb pins for the OwlCrate boxes this year, because you've got even more space to work with now with the insides.
Yeah, like I did like the first pin, the Cruel Prince one, there wasn't it, we weren't going to do UV, and like my initial draft was so detailed. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
My initial draft was so detailed for the inside, and they were like, you can't do this. This is too much. And I was like, well, just make it bigger. And they were like, no. And I'm like, ah. And I was like, okay. Well, then we just like, we're going to have to do UV. And I was like, oh, yes, I can do as much detail as I want.
Perfect. They came out so gorgeous as well. Okay, do you feel the same? Because I mean, a lot of your, like the pins we did last year, the literary luggage ones, they had an incredible amount of detail in as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was something I like strived for going into that project. And honestly, from like your designs, like seeing your designs being like, okay, it is possible to like have more detail than I've been seeing, because the ones that I made for Hey Atlas were like fairly simple. They didn't have like a ton of line work or anything. So yeah, it was like, it's always kind of a bummer, yeah, to like go into it and have a lot of details and then have to like tone it back, from the manufacturers. But like, yeah, it was a really cool challenge to find that balance.
Yeah.
I think you did amazing on like both fronts. Having seen both of them, I only have my hands on one of them right now, but like the Gallant one that I have is so stunning.
Have I just got all the pins in front of me? Gallant one, everyone. The Gallant one I absolutely adore. I think that's one of my favorites.
That one definitely took the longest, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the intricate detail in it is absolutely stunning. It was such a fun collection.
It really was.
Thanks.
Sophie, do you want to take number 2?
Yes. So with book art, it often blurs the line between visual art and also the literature, what's actually happening in the books. How do you navigate that in your work, and what role does like story play into actually designing what's in your brain? These are big questions. It takes you a while to think of the answers.
I feel like for me, it's like I always remember, I mean, it's kind of a fault, but like when I finish a book, I don't remember the details for quite as long as I should, but I remember the feeling that I had reading it, or like I'll remember a feeling of a scene, and then like that's what I want to try to create something out of. And a lot of my like Hey Alice stuff was, the bookmarks and stickers were all pretty much all photo backgrounds, and so I really tried to like get that feeling of the book through that photo, even if it was like a modern photo, and from a fantasy book. It's like, yeah, just trying to like create that from a feeling was really cool when I got it right, like I could really feel that it was right and felt that emotion again from reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I forget, like, I'm like, oh, I could just finish this book. And they're like, oh, what was it about? I was like, I don't know. It was just amazing. I loved it. Like,
Mhm.
like the feeling of the time. And like when I do pin design, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is accurate. Like, especially when I do my like sword bookmarks. And I was like, I'm just gonna go with what like a vibe, like the whole book vibe in general, and put it into like my sword and dagger bookmarks, which is why like the Cruel Prince one is not actually accurate to Jude's sword, but she has like elements of like forestry in it and stuff like that, like from the book, which if you see it you'd be like, oh yeah, that's definitely like from the book. But yeah, I instantly kind of forget. I'm like, oh, I loved it. And they're like, oh, do you remember this? And I'm like,
No.
yes, of
Do
course.
you ever
Yes.
tend to make notes as you're going through? If it's, say, more for a project, if you're reading a book for a project, do you tend to make notes on it, or do you tend to just read the book and then just go, we're going for vibes?
I'm going for
Yeah.
vibes.
Going for
Right.
vibes.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
there's
sorry.
sometimes when like, yeah, I was gonna say there's sometimes when like, like Karina or whoever's working on the project will send me the actual details of like, okay, so you're gonna make this thing. It kind of looks like this, like here's a sketch or, a sword with this symbol on it. But yeah, those details kind of like just kind of blend into my brain as I'm reading the book. Yeah.
It's a lot to remember. And do you feel less pressure as well with both your design work because it's not as like much character art? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they're designing book fandom art and stuff, they like to get it right for the fandoms, and sometimes it's more what's in your brain than what might be in someone else's. So do you feel less pressure because of the style work that you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, definitely a lot less pressure. Yeah, because I know like with some character art, like artist friends, I know they're like everyone knows what like their character wants to look like in the book and how they pictured it. And they're like, if it's not like specifically that, then they're like, no. And there's always gonna be like one comment be like, no, I didn't see them like this. Like they had longer arms or something. You're like, how do you? I'm just like picturing this in my head and like just trying to come out, yeah, like vibes, like Cade said, just vibes from the book. So I feel like it's definitely a lot easier with like kind of like the illustrative side doing line art that you can just kind of go for gold, really. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, I could never do character art. That's scary.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So collaboration is obviously a huge part of art in the bookish community, whether that's collaborating with the writers themselves, companies, or other artists. Can you share an experience or a project where collaboration played a crucial role in sharpening your art style or how it influenced your creative process?
Whew.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Oh man.
God. Oh gosh, that's a really tough question.
I mean, this doesn't really answer your question, but like, I'm sorry. But when
No,
I
go for it.
like the moments, I'd say like the moments that I've been able to collaborate like with authors on like pre-order swag or something, um, I mean, it hasn't like it hasn't influenced like my process, but it's influenced like my passion. And like, I mean, that's just like such a amazing opportunity, I just feel it doesn't feel real still when it happens. So yeah, I mean, and then being able to work with the actual author, not just create something for myself, like for funsies, and have their input is like next level, because that you got it right. You know that you like worked with their vision as well and they're happy with it. So if they're happy with it, then no one else matters, right? Because like they wrote the book. So um yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna say like the same thing. Yeah, it's kind of like fun to do like secret between you and the author about like the book that she's coming out. And then especially when like the last one I did, she like gave me like a slideshow with like art she's had like done of the characters and like the themes of her book, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm a bit obsessed with you and obsessed with your book. And I was like, okay, reel it in, be cool, you're really cool, okay. But I was just kind of like low-key like, can I have like an early copy maybe, please? Because like I'm like obsessed. And then she was like, of course. And I was like doing the designs for it, and I wanted it to be perfect because like I loved the idea of the book as well. But like influencing, I think maybe sometimes I do it and then I'm like, oh, that would have been such a good idea for a pin. I'm like, I'm gutted I gave it to them. But like I would probably take like a little bit of like the ideas that I had for that, and I'd probably like put it into another project, be like, that was a cool vibe, I'm gonna put that in a different project. So yeah.
And like I would say, like being able to work with Karina and Sally on the different theme announcements each month. I mean, that's a collaboration every single month, you know, and like their input is like crucial to that design process, you know. So in that sense, like they've definitely pushed me lovingly out of my comfort zone for the past 7 years, right? Like I've done stuff, like I've really pushed myself to like really try to get it right, and that's just been like an amazing growing process like in my career. It's been great. Yeah.
On that note, there was a comment from Karina in the comment section saying Chloe and Cade are the best.
Oh.
I love that.
Truly. Cade, for the themes and things, is there a favorite one that like really pushed you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so hard to like pin down. Oh my god, that would, I wish I knew that question was coming, because I definitely would have like gone through them. The one that we just did, actually the one that was just like announced, I think it's August theme with like the seasons.
Yes.
Yeah, that one took a while, and Karina wanted the visual to be, you know, the seasons like blending together, and I was like, how do I even that? I mean, yes, that's an amazing idea, but like how, you know? So yeah, when I like finally like figured out the like the answer, it was really exciting.
We've had a lot of compliments on that one on socials.
Oh, cool.
Everyone's been loving it.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
I always love that because I always do the theme announcements. So I get to go into our shared team drive and I get to see all the future ones. And I'm always like, oh my God, this one's amazing.
Oh,
Gets
cool.
me excited.
And then kind of adapting my question a little bit here. I'll see if it's any easier. Do you have like a moment for one of your collaborations where you walked away like, oh my God, I nailed that?
Is that for both of us or just Cade?
Oh yeah, both of you.
Okay. I don't know if Cade also thinks like this, but like if I look at my work for too long, I'm like, I hate it. I'm like, please get this away from me. It's done. Like, just leave it out, like, let it go. And then when it comes like rolling back, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of was a little bit proud of that. But instantly, I mostly always hate my work. I know that's a bad thing to say, but I do. I'm like so self-loathing, I know. But oh, actually, no, there is a pin that I just did for OwlCrate, Secrets, that I actually think it's one of my favorites I've done, but it hasn't come out yet. So, but I did really enjoy that. And I think I personally nailed it. Only because I was like, vibes again. I was like, yes, I got it. Nailed it.
Yeah. I'd say the same, especially like staring at something for hours. You just like turn to mush and you just can't even like, is this good? I have no idea. I'm gonna send it and see what they say.
Right.
Yeah, but then when it actually gets posted like 2 or 3 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Or you're like, oh, I forgot I did that. God, I must have come out like in a dream. Like I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, especially when you're working with the boxes and it's so far in advance planned. And is it nice when you finally get to see it in the flesh though?
Yeah, it's such a good feeling. Yeah.
It's
and
kind of weird.
Everyone's reactions as well.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, like working. I'm sure you all feel this too, like 3 months ahead of time. So like, you know, I just did one for like October, and now my brain's like having fall feels. Like it's like I'm just like 3 months in the future always.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it in, isn't it, Cade? You just kind of want to post it, but like, come on, I want to secretly post a little bit.
My favorite thing is when I actually don't know and people are asking me questions constantly on socials, and I'm just like, honestly, I actually don't know. I can't actually even spoil it for you, so it's fine.
I feel like that's the best side to be on, Sophie.
I can't Tom Holland anything. There's no spoilers coming out of me.
And is it like really surreal for you guys to have your art in people's hands when they finally come out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people taking pictures of it, and like they take like, especially bookstagrammers take such beautiful pictures, and I was like, oh my god, they make it look so much better than I thought it could be. But yeah, seeing pins, I just kind of, I think I dissociate. I'm like, this isn't real. What am I looking at? I'm not doing this for a living. This doesn't feel real to me.
Yeah.
I think it'll always be surreal for me because I didn't think that this would be my job. Like if you told me 5 years ago, I'd been like, what do you mean you're drawing on an iPad and then you're sending off and then like you're doing book covers? Like, nah, you're just making this up. This is a fantasy dream.
That's how I feel, honestly. Like when I first like emailed OwlCrate 7 years ago and was like, hey, so I do graphic design. Like I literally never ever thought that they would actually give me a project. Like never mind like multiple projects. It still feels like a dream, truly.
One of the comments from the Nest is asking if you have any tips for someone getting started making bookish art.
I would say just like do whatever makes you, I know it sounds cheesy, but like truly do what makes you feel happy. Like don't try to copy someone else's style because eventually that's going to get old for you. And also it probably is going to like that style is going to leave, right? Like people are going to be over it and there's going to be no one coming in. So as long as you're doing a style that makes you happy and feels like you'll always get something from it and you'll always feel passionate about it. And then it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter, if the style comes and goes and, yeah, it'll keep you going, keep fueling you to just keep doing it.
Yeah. I think also that brilliant device, love that. Yes. I also think that it's kind of, with me, I just kind of was like, I finished the Starless Sea and I was like, this book has changed my life. And I was like, I need a pin design of this because I collect pins and I was like, I need it. And like, but no one's done it. And I was like, I'm just gonna draw it for fun. And then I drew it and then I posted it and everyone's like, oh yeah, I love that idea too. So I think like just draw. Like if you finish a book and you're like, oh, I have an idea for that and I want to put it down, like just draw it, even if it's bad. Doesn't matter if it's bad. Just do like 1,000 sketches of it. And like just keep doing that like every day. Just sketch like at least a little bit every day to get used to it, get used to the feeling. Do other stuff like create an aesthetic for the book or just like think about all the books you love and just have them in front of you and then go through them, look for quotes or something. And then just like write it all down. Just go crazy. Just do like be a crazy person, have that chalkboard with the red ribbon and like just be that kind of person. Just go have fun with it. But yeah, just creating like loads of sketches like from a book is like probably the best advice I would probably give. Just even if it's bad, just keep going.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Great. So from your personal experiences, do you feel like that's impacted your artistic choices and the messages that you convey with your art and how you design? Do you feel like your personalities are put into your design work now?
I don't know. I think that's hard for me because I don't know what my personality is, sort of sense. Like in the autumn, I'm like, yes, Hobbiton, Autumn Queen, everything has to be orange or brown. Then in the spring and summer, I'm like floral, pastels, everything. So like my pins just go wherever like the season mood happens, I think, with me. Yeah. Or like just whatever the book vibe is.
Yeah. I would say yes, like for my personal or my bookish shop stuff, the quotes that I pulled definitely had like a real meaning to me and I didn't care if it meant anything to anyone else, like, and definitely like the ones that I pulled like almost felt like personal mantras to me sometimes. So I would say yes to that.
Is there any one piece? Sorry, I'm gonna ask all the hard ones here. Is there any one piece that you think is your most personal?
My goodness.
Probably, honestly, I did this bone season pin that was like a poppy flower. And when I read this quote in the book, like I cried, and it was not even relevant to how I actually felt about it. Like I definitely took it out of context, but it was you are not a freak, you are a miracle. And yeah, that was for sure like a moment that I had. And I had to make a pin out of that one. Yeah.
I love that. That's so nice. I can't compete with that.
Samantha Shannon, if you see this later, I love you.
I think like probably the second pin I ever did was I'm like obsessed with Reduction to Magic and Schwab, and I'm like fully like fangirl everything. And like I love that the White Rook from the book, and I was like, I don't know why, just like the I don't know, it's just like the magic of the book and like just the series in itself just means a lot to me. So anytime I do any darker shade of magic design, I know it's like from my heart, like I'm showing you my love for it, and I make sure like it's perfect and it's everything I'd want it to be. So if you see any dark shade of magic stuff, just know that like I'm probably crying over this because I love it so much.
But you're happy we're getting another book as well then.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Counting down the days.
Yes.
And we've got a question from Kathy from the Nest. And she asks, what's a book or fandom you haven't done a design for yet, but you would really like to do?
Oh, speaking of A Dark Shade of Magic, it's my like dream and goal to do the A Dark Shade of Magic series, like book covers or like just foil for them. Like I love like old school vintage style books, like all the foliage, and I love all the gold foil designs. And like every time I see them in vintage shops, I'm like, yep, grabbing that, that's mine. I love to do that kind of thing for A Dark Shade of Magic. Because I feel like the vibes would be so good for that. But yeah, that's probably like my number one. I'm like, yes.
Or just hint to anyone on the OwlCrate creation team then.
Yeah, hint if you want to do that. So.
I would say for me, it'd probably be like Legends and Lattes. There's not enough art for that, and it needs to happen. And if I had more time, like I would do it. Yeah. I just finished Divine Rivals, and I am like obsessed. And
I just finished it too. Oh my god, I'm obsessed as well. I need someone to talk to about it. So after this, you need message.
It was, oh my god, it was so good. Yeah.
So good. I literally finished it the other day. My brain's like, I can't stop thinking about it.
No, and I want to read everything she's ever written. Yeah, I've only seen like character art for it, I feel like. I haven't seen much else. So yeah.
Market's there.
Yeah.
I'll buy it if you do anything for Divine Rivals.
You should collaborate.
Yes, collaborate. That would be fun to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you guys ever done collaborations with other artists for anything bookish?
I haven't, no, but I would love to. I've done stuff with like, subscription boxes, but I don't know if that doesn't really count. But I would really love to do that. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Because it's so hard, like, Chloe, like working on something, it's like you're just like in your own little like bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Aside from each other, is there anyone that you would really love to collaborate with in the book short space?
That's so difficult. So many difficult questions.
Or any favorite bookish artists?
Oh my god. I'm gonna have to grab my phone because I can never remember the Instagram handles of like my favorites.
So many amazing ones. It's hard to pick.
Yeah. Okay, so my current favorite is Bluey Boo. Jade, like her artwork, her Fourth Wind Dust Jacket. I was like, she just ripped out my heart, and I was like, I'm obsessed. So I think I would love to work.
I was just looking at their feed the other day. It's incredible.
Yeah, the pastel vibes, and I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, I'd love to.
Roses Dust Jacket was gorgeous as well, like the dusty pink pastel, stunning.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. I'm gonna second that because I can't remember anyone else's handles.
Of course, right? Because I'm asking you right off the top of your head. Is there anything that you would like to see change for artists in the bookish community?
Hmm.
Or book industry specifically?
Good question. I mean, I wish that like, I mean, and maybe it does happen. I don't know. I'm not in the publishing world, but like what OwlCrate does and other subscription boxes, like working with artists for every single cover and like changing it up. Like I wish that publishers did that more often and also then highlighted those artists, right? Like when the book gets published. I mean, I get that they have an in-house team and that's like probably more efficient, but I wish that happened more often in the world, not just with subscription boxes. Though it does make OwlCrate cooler, right? Because like you get to have that thing, but yeah, I don't know. More opportunities for that.
Yeah, I love that you guys at OwlCrate are doing like redesigns completely of the cover and like you choosing like different artists for like even the reverse dust jacket as well. It's like so luxe. Like you get so many different artists on just the one book, and it just makes it like so much more personal to like the person who collects them, and like the author gets to see like all of her like stories come to life. And I think that becoming a new thing where people create their own dust jackets so that they can have their own type of like turn on the dust jacket, like the original covers. I think I love that everyone's doing like that right now. I think that's so cool, and everyone should always do that.
Yeah.
The curating team are definitely killing it this year with the design work.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, oh my God, my brain just stopped working. Sorry. Are there any other places like sorry to the Canadians here. I'm looking at like Indigo and Chapters if you've seen their new special edition covers for certain things. Have you ever seen like one of those types of covers where you're like, that doesn't really fit? Would you want to, or have you seen any that you'd like to like edit yourself kind of a deal? If you've seen the Indigo ones, they're pink and blue for reference.
I've always wanted to make book jackets just for fun. Well, one to like build a portfolio of that so that maybe I can then do it for real, but also just to do it. I mean, yeah, like why not? It's so cool to have like your very own edition of the book essentially, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I personally just want to do a thing where I change all book covers to like old vintage style books. I'm just like obsessed. It's my thing. It's my hyperfixation at the moment. So it's like that's what I want to do because I miss like old school, like the spines, like having that like foliage and the gold foil and the writing going this way instead of that way. Because every time I'm in a bookstore, I'm just like trying to read it. But like I love it when it goes like the text goes this way and it just like because you always have your spines first. And I'm like, oh, the spine has to be so important. So it always really bums me out when like publishers don't think about the spine and they just put like, you know, it's just plain like one color with just like text. And I'm like, oh, you could have gone so far with that. You could have done so much more. But you know, I love like I think like everyone has like a different style and I don't know. I don't think I've ever come across a cover from a publisher where I've gone, yeah, that's a bit rubbish. Unless it's AI,
Yeah.
but we're not going into that.
No. No. With the Indigo ones specifically, they're like, so it's like Six of Crows. And
Okay.
then they've made them look like rom-coms.
What?
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I
So
haven't
it's like
seen these.
the company itself, like Indigo, put out like a whole bunch of special editions for things that just it doesn't
We'll
match
send
up.
you a link afterwards, Chloe, so you can have a nose.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not
Like,
secretly searching on my phone right now.
I love the idea of doing special editions for the store because Canada doesn't get a whole lot, but yeah, they've got a whole lot of opinions online now. Oh, Jordan's put it up in the chat here for you guys.
I mean, I can't complain because we have Waterstones in the UK and they're doing pretty well with their special editions recently.
Oh, I see them. Okay.
Yeah, so they've done like a series of different books in this exact same style. So they were going for a theme there, but
it doesn't give you Six of Crow vibes.
No, it looks like rom-com
vibes here, so
that's really difficult as well because like I still judge a book by its cover. Like I know I shouldn't, but I'm an artist. I'm gonna do that. This is me.
Totally
I like pretty books, so like that makes me sad that people are gonna see that and then they're gonna be like, what is that? Like, why is it so like? And then like the inside, it's so like dark and like gothic, and it's like the vibes are not right. Yeah.
Like sometimes you can tell the person who designed the cover may not have read the book.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think kind of what you guys were saying is like the vibes are really important. Yeah.
Should we take a moment to do some giveaways?
You know what? I think that would be great because my brain stopped working again. I'm sorry.
So I will do the bundle giveaways first. I feel like that'll be fun. So we're going to give away a whole bundle of last year's Cade's amazing designed literary luggage pins, all 12, and also a bundle of the 7 so far, so up to July, of Chloe's amazing treasured tomb pins, these ones, which you can't buy these bundles. This is like crazy. And you can't even buy these ones individually at all at the moment. So we're going to be going through the comments and picking out some random winners. And then after the weekend, because I feel like we've got too much to do this weekend, we will be contacting the winner of those bundles and send them out to you. So just comment down if you want to get your hands on one of the bundles, because I feel like both are going to be epic.
Oh, yes. And the chat is going crazy right now.
I have lined them all up before, then I've gone, no, this is probably not a good idea because I'm going to have to dust at some point. Lock them all down.
Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm just watching the chat right now. Everyone is so excited.
I just need to decide what my favorite pin is. So if people can put their favorite pins from both collections, that would be great. I feel like mine changes depending on my mood. I do have the Tarrison one as well, the Frona Glass one. I love this one. The colors.
Yeah, I love the color palette of that. Yeah.
Gorgeous. So nice.
I think my favorite is the Serpent and Dove Bakery one.
Oh, I also have that one in front of me too. What's going on?
I just want to live there.
So cute. And the shine on it. Look at that. Boom.
Designing those little cinnamon rolls was like a highlight of my year.
They're so cute in there. They're so sweet. I love it. I still feel like I have a soft spot for our January pin though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, it's actually our most viewed reel that we've ever had as well when we announced this one and we showed the video.
My gosh.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, it's literally the simplest reel as well. It's literally just opening and showing it, and everyone went crazy for it. So there you go,
Chloe. Real.
Just for you.
I think for me, that was the first time I had ever seen like a hinged pin. That was such a cool concept.
Yeah, I love when the concept got brought to me, I was like, this is so good. I was like, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I love how each one is like really, really unique. It's not like the same layout of every single one. They all have like extra different little bits coming out of them, which is just so fun. Yeah. So cool. All right, I feel like we've got a winner somewhere.
I think so, because I can't even keep up with the chat right now.
Okay, I feel like we've got our winners. Am I saying them out loud?
I think you can, yeah.
Yes, Jordan has confirmed. Thank you, Jordan.
Perfect. Thank you, Jordan.
So for the pin collection one, which is going to be the literary luggage collection, they're going to Souls of the Dead. And then for our Treasured Tomb collection, it's going to, I don't even know how to say half of these usernames. So do I pronounce that out? Vitamins, is that how you'd say it, Jordan? Jordan's literally trying to phonetically say it to me. Can you say that?
I shouldn't try.
Either way.
Vitamins. We're gonna go with that. So sorry, that one's a challenging one to say out loud.
God, Jordan could have picked us an easier one. At least you know it's completely by random choice. So well done. Yes, you're going to get both sets. I feel like that's amazing. That's a fun.
Yes. And someone will reach out and get mailing addresses probably Monday.
Yes, probably Monday. I'm going to say Monday.
Monday, maybe Tuesday. Let's give Team OwlCrate
There's
Some
a
breathing.
question that we got from the comments that I do want to ask as well, which is
Yeah.
from actually the same username that just won the treasured tomb pins. They ask, do you guys work purely digital now, or do you start old school with paper and pencil?
I haven't worked with paper and pencil in a very long time. And when I do, I think I tried to do like Inktober last year. And when I did, I was like tapping the screen and then trying to zoom in, thinking it's my iPad, and I was like, oh, I've given up. I can't live in this paper world anymore.
Yeah, I only pretty much work digital, especially for the theme announcements, because like I literally start with the color palette and the font, and like that's where I start, and then everything else kind of falls into place around that. But once I nail those two things, then I can like keep going, and I can't do that with paper and a pencil, you know? So yeah.
Yeah.
Kate, I think that's a really good point. Like when you're designing like a pin, for instance, what does the process look like?
Oh my gosh. I mean, pins are different because like that is like a lot of like digital sketching, you know, and just kind of like moving things around a lot. But that I do work with the color palette first with that too, I think, because you are kind of limited, and like also like, okay, what metal am I using for this? Like that's a big question to have to answer from the very beginning. Fonts not so much with pins, but with the theme announcements, yeah, it's like the font is basically the most important part of the theme
Mhm.
announcement, because it really like captures the vibe of the theme. Um, yeah, so when I do that, that's, like, kind of the first thing I choose or try to choose. Yeah.
Chloe, what about you? I know you've actually posted a video of kind of almost a start to finish of a sketch, but
Yeah. So those ones I cheat a little bit because when I like go into like if I have an idea, I go into hyper focus and I don't stop until it's finished. So when I do reels, I'm like pretending I've sketched it out and then film it and then I go through the steps and steps again. But with me, it's literally just like for example, I'm trying to do a new Kickstarter of just general fantasy pins. So I just kind of like sit down and then I just do like a bunch of random sketches, even if they're terrible, like stick figures, it doesn't matter. I just go for it. And then I'm like, okay, which ones do I like? And then I just build upon that and then just I probably go through like 6 to like 10 different sketches before I do like the final outline of all the details. But I like that Cade does a color palette first because I struggle a lot with color palettes. I'm just that's always the one thing that I'm stumped on with colors because like through like my whole like childhood and like my college and career and stuff like that was I'm a fine artist, so I've worked in black and white with pencil, like doing portraits like that for like so many years, and I'm still trying to learn how to like incorporate color and do color and stuff and make it really interesting. So that's cool that you start off with like a color palette first. That's really cool. I might do that. That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, it really, like, helps to, like, get into the vibe because like, once you know the color palettes, right, you're like, "Okay, like, I can go from here," you know, and I feel like it's a lot easier. There's also a lot of, like, great color palette inspiration sites and yeah, or just pulling from the book cover, like, obviously is a way, but yeah, it really helps me to kinda get into it.
Yeah, I look a lot of aesthetics like from like Pinterest and Tumblr and stuff like that. That helps me like sometimes with color palettes because then knowing what other people like see as well, like how they picture like the book in general, it's like, oh yeah, okay, definitely like I'll go from like that kind of idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to ask this as well because someone has asked in the comments, have you read Fourth Wing yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. After I read it, I came to my Monday morning meeting and Jordan asked if I needed to take a personal day.
I heard
I
it's gonna
actually think
be
I
I
did.
heard the series is gonna be, like, 5 books.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok the other day of the author saying it's planned for 5, but she'll see how the story flows.
Yeah, that's
Would
a
you
lot.
make merch for Fourth Wing?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
have some pending. So
Oh,
just
I
waiting
love
for the licensing to go through. So that's exciting. Oh, and I'm actually I'm working on something with Lilac Libraries for Fourth Win. Don't know. It might be a dust jacket. I don't know. Might be.
that's
I
Cool.
That actually leads me to another question that someone asked on the Nest is, how does licensing work?
So
Actually,
it's
don't really
different.
know.
Yeah, I think with our like it's different for like every author has like their own licensing thing, but it's pretty easy once like you kind of talk to other people. If you just like if you're like alone and then you get sent the contract from the author with like all this information, you're like, oh my god, like I failed maths, this is not working out for me. I don't know how to work out percentage and stuff like that. But I'm like a part of a UK small business group, so like we help each other with licensing and stuff, especially because I'm stupid and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So like if they've done it, then I'm like, okay, what do I write? What do I need to remember and stuff? So if it wasn't for them, I would be stumped. But it's usually just like a contract and then like whatever percentage from profit that you give to the author. And I think that's pretty much mostly for a lot of authors, I think. I'm not sure.
This one.
Sorry. Trying to see if I can see
The licensing can also be a bit of a long-winded process sometimes as well, when you've got to go back with edits and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fun question. Do you get to pick which OwlCrate products you get to work on, or do they pitch you ideas? That's some insider stuff there. I like that question.
Am I allowed to pitch OwlCrate ideas? Mind blown.
You know they would be open to that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I just sit patiently and wait.
Yeah, same. I would love to pitch an idea. Sounds great. So all the creators that are watching, we've got ideas. Me and Cade, just we're gonna email them all to you now.
Yeah, definitely picture stuff. I mean, our general manager Sil said the team loves working with you both in the comments, and she said a Cade and Chloe collab. We will offer it.
I love that.
Pitch away. Definitely Divine Rivals as well, because we did the edition and everyone loved it.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
love
like the
that.
second one, maybe there needs to be something done for the second one.
Oh yeah. We have semi-confirmed that we are looking into that, doing that, starting that. I can't remember the wording I was allowed to say on Instagram, but it's
I don't know with Cade, but like if they give you like a book for like anything that you gotta do like a pin or like something for like any artwork for, and you know it, I always like email be like, oh, I know this book, I love it, just let me do my thing, let me free for all it, and they're like, yeah, go on then, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And that's like the best feeling.
Well, for the theme announcements, it's hard, right? Because the books don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, here's a general vibe. Here's like the cover. Like sometimes I get to see like the exclusive cover, which is really cool. But yeah, otherwise I'm just going off the synopsis.
What about your pins from last year though?
Yeah, for those, yeah, that was really cool because like we got to have a Zoom call and basically go over like all of them at once and just get really nerdy about it. And like the ones that I knew, I was like, oh yeah, like say no more. I know exactly the vibe for this, you know. But there was definitely some that I hadn't read before, so I leaned heavily on the OwlCrate team for that.
Do you find it harder when you've got to create for a book you haven't read yet?
Maybe like, yeah, only because like I don't want to get anything wrong, especially if it's a location that there's no photos of or anything, you know, like or no other illustrations of, and I'm creating it for the first time and I've never even read the passage before. But yeah, only just anxiety of getting it wrong. But then I again like lean heavily on the OwlCrate team to be like, yes, this is correct, or yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult because like with my treasure tome pins, like I like to put like little bits like in the pin that I know only the person who's read the book would get. So when it's something that I haven't read, it's like, I need you to give me like lots and lots of details. Just like throw them all at me and then I'll just like pick ones that I can make like a theme from. So but like I've seen like most of the books that I've been like the fandoms I've been given, I've seen on Bookstagram. So I'm lucky that I know what the general vibe's about. So
yeah.
I have to ask this question as well that we've got down. I like this one. How can the bookish community support artists better?
I mean, obviously, like, buy from
Yeah. You
focused
don't want to say
artists.
it, but I knew you were going to say it.
Understands that, like, there's a lot
Bye.
of us. Yeah. I mean, with Instagram and, Instagram is so hard to gauge these days, like, how to actually get traction, but I would say just, like, sharing, especially sharing your favorites, sharing, like, new stuff that's dropping, is always helpful. Yeah. Or, like, when OwlCrate does sometimes OwlCrate will say, like, at the beginning or the end of the year, like, "What are some new artists you want us to work with?" Like, jump in on that and, like, list them all because that's really helpful.
Yeah, I think it's also helpful, like, if people do like subscription boxes, like they do an unboxing, instead of tagging like just the box, like tagging just OwlCrate, like tag every artist for each of the items if they have photos of it. Because sometimes I just see like I go through like the explore feed and I see like my pen, I'm like, and I was like, oh, I never got tagged in it. And I was like, I'd have loved to have seen that like when it was there like 2 months ago. Because
Yeah.
Instagram's like never shows you anything. But like, so like Cade said, like just sharing everything, like from your favorite artists, like even if like they've just done like a snippet of like a whip, like your work in progress, like in their story, just like take a screenshot and share and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this. Cause like for us, like that makes it like, oh, that makes me like want to get that like work done like faster because it's to see people excited about it. So, and I just like I love the idea that people like my stuff, especially because I'm like so self-loathing. I'm like, people are gonna like this or not. So when people share like anything that I've done, I'm always like, oh, thank you. I love that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take some live questions now as well. So if anyone
Yes.
has any questions, just throw them in the comments, and we'll ask Cade and Chloe before we finish wrapping up. While we're waiting for some of those comments to come in, though, I want to ask Cade about Meat Market. Can you tell us a bit more about it? Because I feel like if people in the nest don't know about it, they need to.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. So I'll make this as quick as I can. Last year, my partner and I opened up a brick and mortar in our community that is half art supply store and the other half is a community art space with free art supplies, like every art supply you can imagine. And you can come in whenever we're open and just use whatever you want for free. And so we're making art supplies of all kinds accessible to everyone in our community. And we have classes and workshops as well. And there's like youth mentoring and free classes for kids. And we're also queer, so we're very open about being a queer-owned space and being a safe space for queer youth in our community. And it's just like basically our dream passion project. And we have a social channel if anyone wants to follow us. It's at Hey Meat Market, MEET, like meeting, not like meat. That gets confusing, but it makes people come inside and be like, "What is this place?"
And is there any way that people who are not local to you can help support that?
We have a website we accept donations, and all of those 100% of the donations that we get go to buying art supplies that people can use for free. We also have like a queer book club, so it goes to buying books for kids to be able to join our queer book club, and then also like funding classes and teachers so that we can have accessible free classes.
Amazing.
I love that.
It's also in Cade's bio if you do.
Yeah, it is in my bio. Yeah.
If you are on Instagram, go and find it.
Thanks.
Perfect. Now getting into some of the live questions. Nest member Jules P is wondering, what's a newly released book that you want to do a pin for?
I feel like we've already gone Divine Rivals
Yeah,
at 4.
Divine Rivals.
Another one.
Yeah.
We got a third.
Yeah. Or Babel. I would love to do some Babel stuff. I'm still obsessed with that book.
There is not enough Babel merch. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Divine Rivals definitely, because I can't stop thinking about that book. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Okay, and then what's been the most challenging pin that you've worked on to date? See, it's not just me anymore, it's the nest members too.
For me, probably the Gallant one, but it was just because it took a while and there's so many details. It wasn't like hard to envision or I knew exactly what I was doing going into it, but just like getting all the details right and the time it took, and then making sure it wasn't too detailed because that couldn't be done. And so that balance was pretty tricky.
Yeah, like I recently just done a pin like mini set for my shop, and it was really difficult for me to be like, okay, they have to be mini because my like pins are usually like this big or bigger, and I was like, okay, they have to be small. I have to do less detail, or just do silk printing, which is like extra details that you can add onto it that isn't like metal. So trying to wane in like my like I go crazy with pins, as you know, like too much detail. Trying to wane in that and do like really small detail ones was like that was a big challenge for me. And they're still pretty big for a mini pin set, but I think people will like them. So yeah.
And on that note as well, Chloe, are we going to give a mystery pin away to someone in the comments today as well?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
I'm going to get Jordan to pick that person, and then we'll send them a little mystery pin.
Love that.
We've got from Brit Reading. Asks, you've done pins, and Chloe, you've done dust jackets, but what haven't you got to do that you would like to?
Well, I'm hoping to expand and do tote bags, or like even like book sleeves. That like like book sleeves, not book sleeves, or all those things that you put pouches in and then you put your book in to protect it.
Oh, I think it is a book sleeve.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just getting it confused with dust. Oh yeah, because yeah, okay. Sorry. Oh, brain going now. Yeah, I want to like do tote designs as well like that, but like that's like I've only now just thought of it because I'm going to do Yalk at the end of the year in London, so I want to do more varied like items and stuff. But trying to put a design on a bag is a whole other thing than doing pin designs. I'm like trying not to get too overwhelmed with it, and I want to make it so like the bag's really big, it has pockets and stuff like that, and it has other stuff on it. So that's been like a new challenge for me to do, but that is something that I'm really excited to do as well, expand on my shop.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then Moonlight Mage is asking what your favorite fandoms are.
Ooh. Ooh.
You can have a list. We'll accept lists.
Oh my gosh.
It's not just one. We won't do that to you.
It's too hard. I feel like, Chloe, you're gonna go Darker Shade of Magic though. Is that your number one?
Yes, absolutely. Dark Shade of Magic. I have two shelves dedicated to just draw books, and so yes, Dark Shade of Magic is my top. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look. Okay. So the like Stephanie Garber's books in general, because like it's the same world, so I don't know what to call her universe, but I love like her books as well. So like her fandom, just the author's fandom in general. Like the vibes, so good. Love that. And I'm also such a sucker for Infernal Devices because I love that trilogy. Oh, my heart.
Yeah. Let's not talk about the last book.
I have too many, but I'm gonna just go out there and shout out Jodi Meadows' new series. So I read Nightrender earlier this year and was completely blown away by it. And I've been a Jodi Meadows fanboy since like September 2017, whenever her book was in the OwlCrate way back when. But her new series, Nightrender, and then the new one, Dawnbreaker, comes out in November, I believe. They're just so good, and the vibes are just amazing. It's like classic fantasy, but there's also like an angel, and I'm not really into the angel vibe, but she does it so well, and it's so good. And there's like a little bit of romance, and it's just so good. I highly recommend that series.
Gonna add that to my never-ending TBR, but yes.
Sounds so good. Okay, we've got one last question from the audience, and this is from Kim Blink. Oh my god, I'm so bad at reading everyone's usernames. I apologize. Do you ever hand letter or always use fonts?
When I had the Hey Atlas shop, it was only hand lettering. Like I'd never used fonts ever, which was like my whole thing, which was really cool. And that's what I wanted to do going into it. And I'm like, no one's gonna like this. Like no one likes hand lettering in bookish merch, but it turns out people did, which is exactly why I said like just do what makes you happy, because then I was like super into it because I thought it was cool and other people did, and yeah, so it worked out. But I don't think I've done any hand lettering for theme announcements, maybe like once or twice, but yeah.
Yeah. Hand lettering is not my thing. My handwriting is terrible and it changes all the time. But I do use like fonts, but what I like to do is that like I change it a little bit. So like say like for example sometimes like two sentences and like the capitals, I probably do like the capitals a bit bigger, or I do some like flourishes or something, or I add more into it. I recently just did a design that was like neon, so like in a neon sign, so neon text and neon sign. So I like to add around the text to make it more interesting, but otherwise I'm all about fonts. I wish I could be an amazing like text person like Cade and be like do those calligraphy things. Maybe I'm gonna learn to do that.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Amazing. And Sophie, it looks like we have a winner for the giveaway.
Yeah, I think Casey is Bookish is the winner for Chloe's mystery pin.
Yay!
Exciting because all the pins on your store are incredible, so that's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, and I guess that really concludes our very first panel. So thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you to our nesties for being here as well. I hope you're enjoying OwlCrate-A-Con. Don't forget that you can always catch a replay of this panel or any of our author chats that are here on the Nest. And be sure to tune into our next panel, which is with Sophie and I again. We'll be going over social media sorcery, and we'll be live at 2 p.m. EST or 11 a.m. PST this afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.